All right, we have created our clay vessels and we have attached a footer to the bottom. And then we spent some time just trying to make them look good, trying to make them look like we bought them in the store. The next thing is the artistic part. This was the craftsmanship part. And now we're gonna do the creative part. Now, I have a bunch of silicone molds that will make these look professional if we're able to pull a good image out of the mold, a good form out of our mold. I have molds with insects. I have molds with just designs. I have molds with ocean creatures. I'm gonna try to do a difficult one. It's this dragonfly. So I'm gonna get, I don't even know if I have enough clay here. I'm gonna get a blob of clay and we're gonna push it down into here. But before I do that, I'm gonna get just a little bit of cornstarch and kind of dab it on here. Comes out a little bit. And then I'm gonna kind of clean it off. I just wanna make sure this is extremely dry before I start. I want my clay to be pretty moist and this to be pretty dry. If you wash this off in the sink, it's done for the day or for the bell, because you've got to really get it dry before you can use it again. I will set up a station where we will work on these. I'm hoping that everybody can have at least a few things that are made from the mold, and then everything else we can add by hand, and we can also, we'll talk about adding texture to add some interest to it, some impressions, some patterns, some textures. All right, now I'll get the clay and I'll show you how to do this. All right, I've got a little bit of moist clay. It's not super wet, but it's also definitely not dry. And I'm gonna try to make an impression of this dragonfly. I've definitely found out that having too much clay can be a problem, just as much a problem as not having enough. So we'll see how I do with this, but I'm gonna kind of get it over this, and then I might even stand up, and I'm gonna press with my thumbs, kind of try to get it evenly done all the way around here. Trying to get it evenly pressed. I really don't want any part of it to be messed up, so I'm really trying to make sure I've kind of pressed it in there. I know I have more than I need in some spots, so I might even try to carefully pull some of that off, because I know I don't need all of that. So I pulled a little bit of it away. I'm gonna press again one final time. And now I'm gonna sort of start to very carefully wiggle my silicone mold and see if I'm able to get that dragonfly to pop out. All right, now when I cut my dragonfly out, I'm gonna leave just a little bit of extra, just a little bit of extra around here as I go. Try not to carve into the desk. I really should have something underneath here. You don't want to mess up the desk. But I'm gonna kind of carve around this a little. And the reason I'm leaving a tiny bit of extra is I'm gonna use that extra to blend it into my container, into my vessel. So I'm gonna cut a little bit of this out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's get this out of there. Let's get this out of there. Okay, now in a moment, I will score this up a little bit. I'll score the back of this up a little bit, and then we'll talk about attaching it. Okay, I scored up the back of this a little. I scored this up a little. I'm gonna give it just one or two quick sprays. I'm gonna put a tiny bit of slip on there, just kind of like it's glue, just a little bit of glue. And then I'm gonna see if I can place it on here the way that I want it to go. And I'm really gonna press as much as I can without losing my design. Kind of just pushing it on. And then the rest of it after this is getting, I really like this tool quite a bit, is getting this tool and grabbing that extra clay that you put on there and just kind of blending this onto there and trying to get it to blend into the background and really kind of attaching it. So I know this is definitely on there good, and I don't really have any air bubbles under there. I've kind of press this down pretty decently. All right, looking good? Okay. Okay, I went around and pulled all the extra clay down with this. I have some more work that I can do with this, but you can tell how if you do this well, and some students will be able to, if you take this seriously and you work on this, some of these should look super cool, more like a college piece than a high school art piece. I can tell this is gonna look pretty awesome if I get this cleaned up, maybe add a few more elements onto this. Good stuff.